been a long time, Mosh Pit. What's going on? I go by the name of Jackie Chun, JackieChun82 here on YouTube, but most people just call me Jackie Chun or just Chun. Anyway, I got a 4th generation OU match today against another YouTuber by the name of tlb31m, and it's definitely one of those matches where the score really doesn't do it justice because I had to think from start to finish, but we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. He's gonna lead with Smeargle, and I'm noticing a growing trend in lead Smeargle that run counter for a lead Machamp with Lumberry, particularly in the Wi-Fi metagame. I need to scout to see if he's Trick Scarf lead or just the normal Sash lead, but I do put up Stealth Rock immediately since I do carry the Lumberry, and he does go for the obvious Spore. Now this turn I decided to at least try for the U-turn to break the Sash, knowing he will Spore again, which he does, which is fine since Sleep Claws is activated, so his Smeargle's not going to be as effective now, as well as any other pokes he might have that can put me to sleep. So still don't know if he's Scarfed or not, so I'm going to go to my Scizor here, who is the best switch in regardless. Did consider Heatran, but decided to go with Scizor, and I'm going to scout with the U-turn to break the Sash here, and still scouting for the possible counter, but I do get a crit, which I really didn't want, since counter does double the damage that I just did. So I'm going to have to go back to Uxie to scout for the counter, but he does go for the Toxic Spikes, so that tells me he does not have the counter. I want to minimize the hazards he's getting so far, and so far he's chosen the least relevant ones to set up first, since my team's not really affected by Toxic Spikes. So gonna go to Scizor. He actually goes for Spikes instead of the Stealth Rock, so I get a chance to bring in Dragonite here for free and get the 6-5 lead. He's gonna bring Vaporeon in on the switch in, and hoping Smeargle was the Stealth Rocker so that way Dragonite can have a field day, but gonna switch out here. The way he brought it in, I'm positive he's gonna Ice Beam, but this is a good chance to see his playstyle. Is he gonna go for the obvious move, or will he predict the switch? So I go to Uxie to scout for it. He does go for the Ice Beam right off the bat. I didn't see any leftovers recovery, so I do continue to scout the set by staying in and burning a turn of sleep, but he does go for the Wish, and I'm guessing the rest of the set is Protect and Surf. So predicting Protect, I decide to go back to Scizor so I can get damage on it the next turn, but he switches to Yanmega to get it in at full health since it's 4 times weak to Stealth Rock, which in hindsight was pretty obvious since nothing else had taken any real damage on his team. But I had already made my decision at that point based on how he'd been playing so far. I had to think for a while on this turn. I know Yanmega commonly carries Hidden Power Ground for Heatran, because otherwise it would wall it, but he double switches to Heatran actually to try to get a better matchup, and I just U-turn out to continue scouting. This tells me he most likely does carry Hidden Power Ground, and I do ultimately go to my own Heatran. I was fearing a substitute variant or just an offensive Tran in general with max speed, so I am going to double switch to Dragonite to bait the Earth Power, see if he's choice, and he does go for it. Didn't turn out too well because it doesn't tell me anything about his Heatran, so I'm going to stay in here, take a huge risk, go for the Superpower because I'd been scouting all game, so I didn't want to get into a pattern, and it worked out excellent since he does bring Vaporeon in and it takes a huge amount of damage. So I stay in to attempt the Draco Meteor. Thankfully it hits. You might be surprised why he didn't Protect, but in hindsight it really didn't matter since the standard with support Vaporeon would still be one hit KO'd even after that leftovers, even if he had leftovers. So he's going to bring Electivire in now, and I was actually thinking of bringing Quagsire in now, but he could possibly have Hidden Power Grass, which is extremely rare, but it does deal with Swampert, so I'm expecting either Hidden Power Ice or Ice Punch. I go to Uxie hoping it's Ice Punch. It is not. He does carry Hidden Power, so I still don't know what type it is. Last time I did decide to burn a turn of sleep, so I decided to switch up here by going to Quagsire now, thinking Electivire would stay into Thunder Punch, but he goes back to Yanmega, most likely predicting me to stay in to burn another turn of sleep. This is an average matchup. I can do stuff to Yanmega, but I can't damage it directly since I'm carrying Toxic and not an Ice move. And it's still gonna, yeah, Mega's still gonna do a lot of damage despite me being specially defensive. He does detect to Toxic Stall me a little bit as I go for my own Toxic. Then I see he does actually have the speed boost, so I'm gonna need to get rid of this thing before it gets too many boosts. Otherwise, I'll have to get rid of it with priority. So I was considering Encore here since I was almost positive he would stay in, but didn't want to risk him switching out. So, and I was thinking that maybe his last would be a spinner, but I've seen Heat Train and Vaporeon already, so the last is probably a grass type. So I stay in, go for the Toxic again, and he is carrying the Life Orb, and as he goes for the Bug Buzz, which after Toxic damage, it almost takes Quagsire out. And I'm thinking he's just gonna Bug Buzz again to try and get the KO. So I go back to Dragonite for the extreme speed kill. But he does switch to Air Slash, however, which worked out for him. Probably not the best play by me, since he wanted to save I wanted to save Dragonite for Electivire because I wanted to get prior damage on it first and then finish it off with priority. But now I'm gonna have to think of another way to deal with it since my team isn't very fast. So at this point, I have to finish Yanmega off with an extreme speed, which is unfortunate since it's going to leave me with one attack left. It's a good thing he did not get Stealth Rock up against me, but he's going to bring Heat Train in here, and I'm going to decide not to go for extreme speed and try for a superpower just to make sure that it is Choice Scarfed, although I was pretty positive at this point. He goes for Hidden Power, and it looks like it's Hidden Power Grass, so that tells me that the Hidden Power on Electivire is most likely Ice, since I don't think he would have two Pokemon with Hidden Power Grass. So I'm going to bring Heatran in here knowing he's locked into it. Earth Power is the best move since both Heatran and Electivire are weak to it, and I figure I'll either force him out, force him to reveal his last Pokemon, or he'll have to sacrifice Heatran or Electivire. He does reveal his last, which is a Breloom. And even though he resists it, Breloom does not take that Earth Power very well. And I was debating my next move here because I'm in position to finish the game since it took around 40% from Earth Power. Did consider Taunt or Fire Blast, but he's in a pretty bad spot. He can't Spore because Uxi's already asleep. And Fire Blast can miss, so Earth Power was the best move. He goes for the sub. He's not able to make one. And me going for Earth Power allows me to keep Heatran and Electivire out. So another Earth Power is going to finish the Breloom off, and he's going to bring in Heatran once again, and I'm going to switch to Quagsire here to fodder it out just to see what he will lock himself into, and he is going to lock himself into Earth Power. So knowing this, my next switch in is going to be Uxie, and I know he has nothing else to put me to sleep now, so I'm just trying to wake up at this point and you turn out to something else. If Heatran stays in, I'll just sack Jirachi and try to hit it with something, either Psychic or Thunderball as I go down. But he does go back to Electivire, and he's going to hit me with Thunder Punch, which is great since I did consider going to Jirachi at this point, but Uxie can take the hits better than Jirachi can. It looks like it's going to be a 4-hit KO. But I do sleep for 2 more turns before waking up and U-turning out, and I was fearing the worst case scenario here, that he would crit me on one of these Thunder Punches and I wouldn't get to U-turn out because I'd get knocked out before waking up. So that would have left his Heatran free to spam Earth Power or his Electivire to spam Earthquake if it had it. So I will outspeed his Electivire here as I U-turn out to Scizor since I am Scarfed. And I decided to lock in the Superpower in order to keep Heatran out. His Electivire does go down. Heatran is going to come back in. And because I have a ground immunity, a fire immunity, and 3 grass resists left, he's going to run away. But it was a great game. tlb31m. Guys, if you like this battle, just feel free to check out my channel. Link will be in the description below. And also sub to Pokemoshpitbeta if you guys haven't yet. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.